Planes, Trains, Automobiles, the classic 1987 comedy film, directed, produced, and written by the late great John Hughes, starring Steve Martin and John Candy. And man, this is a great movie to watch for this Thanksgiving week. Steve Martin plays as Neil Page. He does marketing for a living. He is someone that he's uptight in some ways, very high strung. And then you have John Candy who plays as Del Griffith, and he's an American Light and Fixture director of sales. He sells shower curtain rings, and he's very good spirited, but irritating in some ways. Now, some of my favorite scenes of this movie are the airplane scene, which is like the which is at the beginning of Act One. And that scene is so funny because you had Dell, who has this tendency of taking off his shoes and his socks, but he does it at the beginning of the movie in the airplane. And then moments later, you have an older man who's sitting next to Neil. Neil is sitting between Dell and this older man. So on the left side, um you have Dell laying his head on his left shoulder, and then you have the older man laying his head on Neil's right shoulder. So they're snoring, and but the funny part is when the older man starts coughing right on Neil's face. Neil's face in that scene is epic. What's the other scene? I mean, this movie has a lot of good scenes. There's one that it's like in the middle, halfway in the movie. They're eating at a diner, something like that. And Neil is slowly coming to a realization that he is spending too much time away from his family, that he's missing the precious moments, like his daughter's Thanksgiving pageant that he missed because the flights were canceled. So therefore, he had to stay at a motel with Dell, and they shared a bed. They shared a room in Wichita because there was a snowstorm in Chicago. So Neil never made it on time from New York to Chicago. So he had to sit in Wichita, and everything was going not with what Neil expected. Everything was going wrong, and it led to a conflict between him and Dell. And that's when the argument that they had in the motel room, that scene they both nailed it, but it was more Dell, played by John Candy. Um, he said, what you see is what you get, basically telling him that his wife likes him and things like that. But it's just that line, what you see is what you get. That's one of the best lines of that movie. Oh yes, I can't forget this one. Dell, when they wake up in the morning in in the in that motel room when Dell kisses Neil in the ear and he's sleeping right behind them. That is hilarious. I seen it. That part is hilarious. Uh, the bus scene is also a good scene in which Neil starts singing, which is three coins in a fountain, and everybody just looks at him. Everybody in the bus just looks at him. But then when Dell starts singing the Flintstone song, the theme song, everybody starts singing it. What else? Oh yes, the F-bomb scene. When Neil starts going off on the car rental agent lady, dropping the F-bombs, another great scene. And also the car scene which Del is driving in the nighttime. Neil is trying to go to sleep, and Del puts music. He's, in the rhythm, and next thing you know, his coat gets stuck. Um, I'm forgetting what's it called. His coat gets stuck, and he's trying to get it out, but then they get into an accident. Like I said, everything was just not going their way. Mostly Neil's way because Neil's the one who's trying to get to Chicago to his family. So, but then they realized they had to come together and, bury the hatchet, which they did. So then when Neil gets into the Chicago L station, they say goodbye to each other. But then Neil, as he's sitting down and during the ride, he starts thinking about the crazy moments that has been said, the crazy comments. He's laughing, he's cringing. And then he, once again, starting to realize that he needs to go back to Dell. And when he finds Dell, that scene, I don't know. I mean, with these two scenes in Act 3, the movie, in my opinion, would have not been as strong from a dramatic standpoint. Because yes, it's comedy, but you need to have some seriousness to it. So when Del confesses to Neil that he is homeless and that he lost his wife 8 years ago, you feel for Del and why he is good spirited throughout the whole movie. You feel for him, you feel for his character, you feel for why he's the way he is. And it all goes back to the beginning when he says, what you see is what you get. It doesn't matter who doesn't like him, as long as his wife likes him, because he always talks to his wife. Like if she's still there with him, even though she's there with him in spirit, but you could tell that he loved his wife a lot. So when Neil learns about this, he decides to bring Del with him to spend Thanksgiving with Neil and with his family. And that's the perfect conclusion to Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. And I'm going to reveal something else. As a filmmaker, as a writer, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles was influential into what I titled my comedy short film that I did back in 2020 called Neighbors, Breakups, and Surprises, because I wanted to put a title on a comedy movie using 3 words. And the movie that I thought about was Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. So, and that movie, Neighbors, Breakups, Surprises, did very well in the film festival circuit. And it was just magic. So Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is a special movie to me. And the fact that it's Thanksgiving week, Thanksgiving season, I had to make a movie review about it. So watch Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Is a classic, and it's a feel-good movie. If you want to laugh, watch it. This movie, like I said, it has elements of both comedy and drama, in my opinion. And Steve Martin, John Candy, they're magic together in this movie. Thank you for watching this video. Hit that thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Keep enjoying Thanksgiving weekend. And as always, be safe. And may God bless you all.